Hi, Wolfpack fans. I'm Jeff Gravely.
I'm Tony Haynes.
And I'm Matt Chasnow.
And this is Pulse of the Pack.
He's Jeff Gravely. I'm Tony Haynes. Let's get to it. Triangle area, ground zero for March Madness this weekend.
It's fantastic. We've got NC State women hosting here in Reynolds Coliseum. We've got Raleigh hosting at Lenovo Center. And boy, you look at some of the teams in the men's bracket that are going to Lenovo. That's pretty amazing. Two number one seeds in Duke and Florida. You've got the back-to-back national champs in UConn. You've got Oklahoma. You've got Baylor. That's a hot ticket. That will be a sellout at Lenovo this weekend.
I don't know if it'll feel like a home game for Duke or not, but I have to say, I am really impressed with Duke to get through that ACC tournament, win the championship without arguably the best player in the country, Cooper Flagg, and Malik Brown. I'm a big Malik Brown fan because he's such a glue guy for Duke. Great passer, really good defender. But then for them to still beat North Carolina, beat Louisville to win that ACC championship, props to them. And it was a great, I don't know if Cooper Flagg was going to be available or not, but either way, it wouldn't have been smart. And no. I think John Shire got it right in his press conference after Cooper Flagg got hurt. He said, we want to win the ACC championship, but we got bigger fish to fry starting next week talking about the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, you don't want to put him at risk, and you certainly want to try to get him as close to 100% as possible, and sitting out will allow that. Mm-hmm. There's no guarantee. How many tournaments have we covered, Tony, where there is an injury? Is so-and-so going to be able to play? Let's go out and see if they warm up. Do they have a boot on? You walk through the locker room, and it's always some kind of injury that can affect a tournament, but it did not affect the ACC tournament. It could affect the NCAA tournament if Cooper Flagg is not able to play at the level he has been because they are a different team with him, but they proved in the ACC that they could win without him, at least the ACC championship.
So 4 ACC teams get in the big dance, including North Carolina. And when I wasn't watching the show, the pairing show, I admit it, on Sunday night.
Well, I thought it started at 6:30, so I didn't tune in until 6:30, and they were already picked.
Well, I got a text. I think Chaz texted both of us and said North Carolina got in. And initially, I'm sitting there when I heard about it, I wasn't really surprised. I thought they might get in simply because of the way they played at the end. They look like an NCAA tournament team. And I do think and every committee has their own priorities, but I think the team you see over the last month or 6 weeks, that's the team you're getting, right? Some of the games North Carolina lost earlier in the year, like most teams in the era of the transfer portal, it takes a while to put it together sometimes. So I wasn't totally shocked when the Tar Heels got in the tournament. But boy, the next day I'm going through social media and the level of outrage was absolutely amazing. And then I started listening to the points that were being made by people I really respect. And you can see where West Virginia and Indiana and Ohio State and teams like that feel like that they probably should have been given an opportunity to get into the tournament over UNC.
Well, here's the thing with West Virginia. They lost to Colorado in the opening of the Big 12 tournament. Mm-hmm. Colorado is awful this year. That does not help you.
No.
It does. There is the eye test of how are you playing right now, and that's kind of what makes it a little odd in that Auburn goes in as the number one, and they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. So they're not going in with a lot of positive momentum. Yeah, they're a fantastic team, but I think there are question marks on all sides when you reach this point. So I'm anxious to see who plays to the level they're supposed to and who does not, and who will be one of those stories like NC State was a year ago that just screwed up everybody's bracket, but it made a trip for a lifetime for you. I can only imagine what it was like for you to go through that whole experience of winning the ACC and then, that's been good. All right, we'll go to the first round. All right, keep going.
Yeah.
And you make the Final Four. That had to be an incredible career experience for you.
It was a great experience, but speaking of that, what a difference a year makes.
Right.
I mean, you and I 12 months ago, we're sitting here doing this podcast. We're having a totally different conversation. And it's amazing how things have changed in the opposite direction. Obviously, with NC State having just a really rough season, didn't even qualify for the ACC tournament. I mentioned it before that before NC State played Miami for the final game of the regular season, it was only the second time in my career where I walked in the arena at the end of the season and I knew that was going to be the last game of the year for me broadcasting, because normally after the regular season you get in the ACC tournament and sometimes you're in the NCAA tournament. So every game you broadcast, you realize it could be your last game of the year, but not necessarily going to be if you win. Well, the only other time in my career for hundreds of years that I actually broadcast a game and I walked in the building and I knew it was going to be the last game of the year, I was broadcasting for the Duke Network in 1994, and they're about to play the national championship game against Arkansas. That was the only other time that I walked in there and I knew it was going to be the last game of the year.
Pulse of the Pack is sponsored in part by Coca-Cola. Crisp, refreshing, and irresistibly tasty. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
It's Truck Month with the Ford Crew.
This event is so big, it has something in it for everyone.
For power people, all electric, hybrid, or gas.
For towing people, Pro Trailer Backup Assist.
And Pro Power Onboard for tailgating people.
No wonder Ford F-Series are the best-selling trucks in America for 48 straight years.
Now get 3.9% for 60 plus up to $11,624 in total savings on select F-150s only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
All right, Mr. Wolf, you're all set. Complete perimeter protection installed and monitored 24/7.
No matter who you root for, we can all identify with the best in smart home security. CPI Security is the official security and smart home company of NC State Athletics. CPI Security. Identify yourself.
From protecting your teeth and gums, to restoring your smile, to sponsoring your local team, Tar Heel Periodontics is the premier periodontal practice of the Triangle community. Our team of highly skilled doctors provide dental care as individual as you are, working with you to build a personalized treatment plan to create the beautiful, healthy smile of your dreams. With offices conveniently located across the Triangle and Central North Carolina, you're never far from the Tar Heel Periodontics family. Visit our website or call now.
This segment of Pulse of the Pack is presented by Coca-Cola. You know, one of the things that we're lucky that we have the men and the women playing in the same city here in Raleigh, and everybody across campus is stretched thin. Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of glad that they didn't have the men and women playing on the same day, because the men are playing on Friday, Sunday, the women are playing on Saturday and Monday. Mm-hmm. So Reynolds Coliseum will be rocking. It did not take long for those tickets to sell out for the NC State women getting an opportunity to host once again the NCAA tournament.
You know, something Coach Westmore said during his Zoom press conference on Monday, talking about the NCAA regional, and they're going to host here at Reynolds Coliseum once again. He talked about the difference between the men and the women's game, especially if you're looking at Power 4 conferences. In the men's game, you play in your conference tournament, and if you win the tournament, you play 3, 4, in NC State's case, last year 5 days. And then the next day you're watching the pairing show, then you turn right around, you get on the plane, and you're going. You're going to play wherever you're playing next. Whereas the women get a week off after their ACC tournament. And for the NC State women, that was crucial because they were kind of banged up coming out of that ACC tournament loss to Duke. So, but it is a big difference having a week off this time of year. And I go back to what the NC State men did last year. For them to ride that emotional wave of winning 5 games in 5 days, cutting down the nets for the ACC championship, and then turn around so quickly and then proceed to win 4 more games to get to the Final Four. Now in hindsight, you look back on that, it's probably an even more incredible accomplishment than we even thought at the time.
No doubt, and I think it is great for the women to get that week, particularly for NC State. It was spring break. And so he gave the team off. They were off. They didn't have to come back until Thursday. And so, yeah, you not only get a physical break, but you get a mental recharge to go out, and you may go home, or you may go to the beach, or you may do whatever, but that's a great thing for the state women.
Yeah, they're in the Spokane Regional, and they're going to play Vermont. That's a Saturday game at 2 o'clock. Everybody's 0-0 now, and they had a great year. If you go 16-2 in the ACC and you share the regular season title with Notre Dame, that's terrific. Couldn't quite finish it off in the ACC tournament. Duke with a great second half to beat them. But you know, I think that for Westmore's team, they have a lot of confidence. You know, even coming out of that loss to Duke in the ACC champ, they have some players that were there for that Final Four run last year. But maybe the biggest reason they have confidence right now is because they're going to play inside the hallowed walls of William Neal Reynolds Coliseum, where NC State posted a 16-0 record this year.
And you know, it's one of those things too. This is the fifth time under Westmore that they've been able to host, and also a part of that Zoom press conference that he had. He talked about he loses more sleep over worrying about the whole year. We need to get one of those top 16 seeds so we can host. And it does make a difference, because here, when NC State has hosted the NCAA tournament here in Reynolds Coliseum, the women, they're 19-2. And those two losses were way back in 82 and then 83. So there's a level of success here when you get to host. No, it doesn't guarantee anything, but at least there's a little familiarity. I know what locker room we're in. I know this gym. I know what kind of atmosphere it's going to be. So that is a huge advantage. And it's a great reward in the women's game for them to be able to do that. On the men's side, you can't play in your home arena, but for the women, you can, and I think that's a huge thing.
I like that format.
I agree with
for
you.
women's basketball.
Yeah.
There should be a reward for having a top-level season, right? For instance, in the ACC tournament, there's a reward for a top 4 finish. You get that double bye. That's a big advantage. Top 9, you get the single bye. In women's basketball, the best teams, top 16 teams, get a chance to play on their home floor. And I like it gives the regular season even that much more meaning, right? And I think that's a great format for women's basketball, and what a fantastic venue for this weekend coming in. I think the game's sold out in about 5 minutes, right?
It did. Westmore was also asked, can you compare winning the regular season championship with the tournament championship? He said, well, I wanted both. And of course he did. But to me, and you look at this, I'll take either one of them, but yes, you want both. The regular season is more of a marathon. It's a testament of what you've done throughout the year, as opposed to what you've done for 2 or 3 or 4 or sometimes 5 days in a tournament. This is one of the amazing things to me, if you look at the level of consistency and productivity that the NC State women's program has been able to achieve under Westmore. 8 of the last 9 years, including this year, they will only have single-digit losses. 8 of the 9 years, single-digit losses. That is unheard of. That's a level of consistency that you can't sneeze at. That speaks to playing a tough schedule and getting through that, and also succeeding in the postseason. So Wes and the program have reached a level where they should be included in talk about going to the Final Four with what they did last year. And I think, to your point too, about the level of play in women's basketball, the number of teams that have an opportunity to win, you could take any of those top 16 seeds, and I wouldn't be surprised to see any of them in the Final Four.
Mr. Wolf, you're all set. Complete perimeter protection installed and monitored 24/7.
No matter who you root for, we can all identify with the best in smart home security. CPI Security is the official security and smart home company of NC State Athletics. CPI Security. Identify yourself.
It's Truck Month with the Ford Crew.
This event is so big, it has something in it for everyone.
For power people, all electric, hybrid, or gas.
For towing people, Pro Trailer Backup Assist.
And Pro Power Onboard for tailgating people.
No wonder Ford F-Series are the best-selling trucks in America for 48 straight years.
Now get 3.9% for 60 plus up to $11,624 in total savings on select F-150s only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
From protecting your teeth and gums, to restoring your smile, to sponsoring your local team, Tar Heel Periodontics is the premier periodontal practice of the Triangle community. Our team of highly skilled doctors provide dental care as individual as you are, working with you to build a personalized treatment plan to create the beautiful, healthy smile of your dreams. With offices conveniently located across the Triangle and Central North Carolina, you're never far from the Tar Heel Periodontics family. Visit our website or call now.
And the football team is back to work.
Went back to work on Tuesday. They had the whole week off last week. They scrimmaged the Friday before they hit spring break.
There's a young man that Coach Dorn has added to his staff, although he's been around as a player and a GA, and now he's getting a chance to actually be a quote-unquote real coach, and I think he's going to excel.
Well, he is a familiar face around here. Gavin Locklear has been part of this program for over a decade as a coach, a volunteer assistant, and now he is a full-time assistant coach leading the tight end room. How has that hit you?
It's been awesome. I've got to work with those guys for the past 2 years. So stepping into that role has been a nice and easy transition. Have built relationships with those guys over the past few years, added a guy this year, and things are going really well.
What is it like for you to stand in a room and you are the leader of those men in that room at practice?
It's an awesome responsibility. I have to give credit back to George McDonald from when I started as a student volunteer. I was running meetings then. Every Thursday, I would run our tips and reminder meetings. So I've been doing it for years. So it's been a build-up year after year after year. And to get me to this point right now, anytime I step in front of a room, I don't take it lightly. Being able to lead a group of men and push them all in the right direction, get them all grabbing the rope and pulling in the same direction. Once you understand that they are doing that, that is an unbelievable feeling.
Don't lose ground, loaded strike, thumbs up, hairline below the chin, active feet and hands, snag and get going.
You have a very unique story that you can share with players. And let's start with, you come out of Apex High School, you walk on here. The decision to walk on, that's not an easy decision. It's not an easy job to have either.
Right. Coming out of high school, I was a baseball, football player, come from a baseball family, and I went the other way. I decided it was football, and I had Wingate and Campbell. And those were the two offers that I had. NC State came in late and said, would you like to walk on? I said, can you just let me talk to my mom? I talked to my mom, said, Mom, I need 2 years. If you can help me out for 2 years, I'll get it done. And I stuck to that word and got that thing done.
You got a scholarship,
Absolutely.
But before you could ever even play a snap, you had a serious injury in the spring that really derailed you. That's a part of your story as well.
Absolutely, and people talk about that, and it's really funny how it actually kind of happened, because we were supposed to be done with practice that day.
You getting extra reps?
We were getting extra reps.
There you go.
And I talked Jacoby Brissett into it at the time, and he tried to talk me out of it. And so really it could fall on myself, but that's just who I was. I wanted to compete, I wanted the reps, I wanted to get better. And unfortunately what happened, but I wouldn't take it back for anything because it's put me in the position I am today.
You come back from the broken leg, you get to go on scholarship, you get to play for NC State. I have your stats here, 12 catches, 107 yards, but you're also 3 for 4 in passing. I, to this day, say he has the best arm on the staff that can really spin a football.
Absolutely.
That's the baseball background too, right?
That's it. I was a center fielder. I'd let that thing go.
How rewarding was it for you to get an opportunity to play at this university, something that you had dreamed of?
I'd never wanted to look back and say, what if? And I'm glad that I made the decision I made, because it wasn't a decision to go out and prove everybody else wrong, even though there were people that said, hey, you may never play here. It was just to prove myself right, of saying, I know who I am in the core. I know what I'm made of. I know what I believe in. I know how I work. I know how I train. I know how I prepare. And what happened, happened.
How much of that do you share with players that you coach and players that you recruit? That you have blood in the bricks, you have a very unique story of overcoming obstacles to be a success.
All the time. I think it's one of the biggest privileges you could possibly have to coach where you played. And just talking to these guys about all the experiences that I had here, right? It's a big relational tool because I can sit down and tell a kid and say, man, I've done everything you've done. Everything you're going to do if you are a recruit. When you come in here, this is what it looks like. And if you want to be a part of that kind of culture, then this is the place for you. And if it's not, then that's not the place for you, and that's okay, right? But if you want to be about hard work, put your hand in the dirt, be a gritty personality, show up every single day, you embrace the grind, you embrace the struggle, you embrace the process. That's what I talk to these guys about a lot, the process.
A lot of people aren't willing to put in and live out the process.
No, we live in a, I want this, I want that, I want this, and I want that, and I want it now.
Yeah.
And I'm not okay with saying, I'm gonna do everything it takes to get that, and then realize that once I get there, that's just the beginning. Because I've had people tell me, okay, you become a position coach, and you've made it. No, I'm just getting started.
Two lines, get something straight, 2 lines, let's go, move!
So what do you like to do away from football? Because you got to have a decompression thing that you can go to.
I do. So I am huge on movies. Love movies, love TV shows. So if there's any good recommendations, please push them my way. I've seen almost every movie in the book.
So what kind of movies do you like?
I would say the ones that I probably like the best are the thrillers and suspense. I love trying to figure out the plot of a movie. I love it. It's like a game to me.
Favorite food, and can you cook?
So I can cook. I can. And it's more so grill.
That's it.
But if you want a steak, I promise you, I will cook you or grill you the best steak you will find in Raleigh.
I could take that challenge because I feel like that's my strength too, on a grill with a steak.
Yeah,
Musical artist.
We can have a cook-off.
We can have a cook-off?
We can have a cook-off.
All right, maybe one of those Monday night cook-offs here, we can do one of those.
There you go.
I've known this guy since he was in high school at Apex. So happy for you, my man.
Appreciate it.
Gavin Locklear, the new tight ends coach at NC State.
Pulse of the Pack is sponsored in part by Carolina Ford Dealers. See your Carolina Ford dealer, proud sponsor of NC State Athletics.
It's Truck Month with the Ford Crew.
This event is so big, it has something in it for everyone.
For power people, all electric, hybrid, or gas.
For towing people, Pro Trailer Backup Assist.
And Pro Power Onboard for tailgating people.
No wonder Ford F-Series are the best-selling trucks in America for 48 straight years.
Now get 3.9% for 60 plus up to $11,624 in total savings on select F-150s only at your Carolina Ford dealer.
All right, Mr. Wolf, you're all set. Complete perimeter protection installed and monitored 24/7.
No matter who you root for, we can all identify with the best in smart home security. CPI Security is the official security and smart home company of NC State Athletics. CPI Security. Identify yourself.
From protecting your teeth and gums, to restoring your smile, to sponsoring your local team, Tar Heel Periodontics is the premier periodontal practice of the Triangle community. Our team of highly skilled doctors provide dental care as individual as you are, working with you to build a personalized treatment plan to create the beautiful, healthy smile of your dreams. With offices conveniently located across the Triangle and Central North Carolina, you're never far from the Tar Heel Periodontics family. Visit our website or call now.
Pulse of the Pack is sponsored in part by Coca-Cola. Crisp, refreshing, and irresistibly tasty. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
Now we're recording on Tuesday the 18th.
That's right.
At Reynolds Coliseum.
Correct.
The parking lot is packed.
It is.
There's a buzz around campus as we speak because NC State is about to name its new chancellor.
They've officially announced Kevin Howell as the new chancellor of NC State to succeed Randy Woodson, who's been here for 15 years. And if you look at the perfect handing of the baton from one to the other, you gotta love this because Kevin is a guy, he knows NC State as a student. He was student body president. He has worked here on the faculty. He has worked down at the legislature with 2 governors. He is a guy that does not need a crash course in NC State. He gets it. And I'll tell you the other great thing too, Tony, is he supports Wolfpack athletics. And that's a huge thing to have your chancellor. We just had one in Randy Woodson, and we'll have another one in Kevin Howell that supports NC State athletics, and that's incredibly huge at this time where we are in college athletics.
But like most incoming freshmen, I didn't understand the profound effect this university would forever have on my life. Wolfpack Nation, I'm even more excited that my father and I coming to NC State so many years ago. I'm even more excited today than I was on that day when I left home for college. And it is certainly the highest honor and privilege that I can say to be the 15th chancellor, your chancellor, of this beloved university we call NC State University. And I thank all of you for this opportunity. And as always, go Pack.
Kevin Howell always has a smile on his face. And as you say, he's an NC State guy. He knows how we roll at NC State as well as anybody. So I think he's a perfect choice. But I do want to thank Chancellor Randy Woodson. Boy, this university experienced unprecedented growth while he was the chancellor here.
I think Kevin Howell will certainly be a fan of NC State as he takes the helm of being the chancellor, officially starting in May.
Well, Chancellor Woodson, all the best in your retirement. I look forward to Kevin Howell continue this incredible growth we've seen at NC State. Well, over the years on our TV shows, or our quote-unquote coaches TV shows, we've undergone a lot of changes. There have been several iterations of formats. You know, when I first got to NC State, Don Shea, the great Don Shea, was hosting the coaches' TV shows, and he went all the way back to Jimmy V. You know, he and Jimmy V were really close. And then, you know, Don passed the baton on to me, and I had a chance to host the football and basketball coaches shows for a number of years. And then we kind of went to the documentary style, which I thought was really entertaining. And last summer, we decided to combine our podcast with a newly formatted TV show, which we decided to call Pulse of the Pack. And I'll tell you what, we got to start with our producer, Roland, who has done a spectacular job tying that all together.
There's an art to that. It's like putting a beautiful puzzle together, and Roland does a fantastic job taking whatever we have to say, the features that we have, and entwining them together, mixing them together to tell a great 30-minute story. And I think it's been fun to work with Roland. A lot of our creative staff have done some great features. It's just been a fun show to work on. I've enjoyed chewing the fat with you and Chaz as we rotate in and out on that. So it's been a fun year of the Pulse of the Pack, and hopefully we'll be back next year as well.
Yeah, and I think Kyle Winchester, the general manager of Wolfpack Sports Properties, he was thinking about changing things up. And in this day and age with social media and all the social media platforms that are employed with the creative staff at a place like NC State and the NC State Athletics Department, I think it's important to pull all of that together and utilize those features beyond just what you can see on social media and use some of that on the TV show. And I think we've hopefully done a successful job of that.
Play to your strength. I think that's what we tried to do this year.
All right, Roland, he's over there behind the camera.
He's like, hurry up.
Don't get a big head, okay? Anyway, thanks for watching.